As my kids got older, there was a conversation I had to have with them that I could no longer just know by myself. And that had to do with bowel movements. When I no longer took care of their bowel movements, I had to ask. And I wanted them to know it was a very normal conversation, so we would have it at the dinner table. And so our conversations would go something like this. Hey, so how was school today? And then, and how about your bowel movements? And they understood that it was very normal. Today, it should be very normal for us to talk about that and for us to look at our bowel movements because they will determine the type of health we have. They will tell us about the type of health we have. So the frequency is important. If I have one meal a day, then my bowel movements should be at least one a day. But as those meals increase, then I should have that same amount. And if I eat and an hour later I have a bowel movement, that's a good thing because I am basically eliminating the meal from the day before at that same time, more or less. So there is not a problem with eating, and my goodness, you go to the bathroom so quickly, that would be a good thing. You're eliminating the meal from the day before. Now, why is it important to have frequent bowel movements? Because the contrary would indicate that you're keeping fecal matter inside of you longer than it should. And why should that matter to me? Because it's the same thing as if you had a bag and you stuck leftovers in that bag all the time and put it in a room that was 98 degrees hot. Because your bowels are even hotter than that at times. And you did this every time because you only had one bowel movement a week. And so you did 21 leftovers stuck into a bag. And then on day 7, you'd open them, you'd have worms. And that's what your colon will have as well, if that is how long you are waiting between bowel movements. So the frequency, very important. The color, just as important. It should be brown to indicate that the bile is okay. But if it's too white, it's a problem. And if it's black, it's a problem. Too light would indicate an issue. Too dark would indicate I may even have internal bleeding. So I want to be careful with color. I also want to make sure that it floats. Because if it comes down to the bottom and I have to be cleaning the toilet every time because of the smudges that are left, that would indicate that that matter, fecal matter, is staying in my body too long. Lack of fiber, lack of water. The smell is very important. If someone cannot go to the bathroom after you're done with it, that indicates, again, that the fecal matter is staying too long within you, creating surely bacteria because it's getting fermented, it's just getting bad inside of you. And one of the things that happens in your colon is you have a second absorption. You want it to be of good things, not of bacteria that is now making you sick. You don't want to make your own self sick. And finally, the size. The colon is about 2 inches in diameter, so you want to get as close as you can to that, to the elimination thickness, to the diameter of your bowel movements. And the length. Your descending colon is the one that eliminates first. And everything kind of just moves along as that part is eliminated. So you're looking for something about 6 inches long. Sometimes even longer would be nicer because it would indicate that most of what's in that descending colon is being eliminated. If there are cuts between, or if there is a funny design to your bowels, like it comes in and out and in and out, and there seems to be tightening between it, or strictures, I don't know what the correct word is, that would indicate the shape of your intestine. And so it would indicate that there are spasms, that's what I was looking for, that there are spasms in your intestine. And again, that should be concerning. If it's too thin, the same thing. That would say that your colon is not the diameter that it should be. So watch for all those things as you are having bowel movements because they will determine what is going on with your health. And as you notice that there are issues you have to address, then think of increasing your fiber intake. You can do it with raw veggies, raw fruits. Make sure you're having a lot of water coming into the body because all of that will be a determining factor in your health. And you'll be able to gauge it by the way your bowel movements are. So make bowel movements a daily conversation with your children. And as an adult, make sure you're looking at your bowel movements before you flush because they will help you be more aware of your health.